Alright gamers, welcome back. Palworld, The Lucky Adventures, episode 174. You know I keep that thing on me. This thing looks crazy in my hands. This episode I want to head down to Feybreak and take on Celesdir and Frostalion Noct, as well as begin reading most of these journal entries. We're going to start from the top and go all the way through, learn about each character, learn some backstory on them. So this might be a longer episode and this might take a while, but the next episode I'm probably going to try and take on the 7th tower and maybe see if we can wrap the game up. So let's take on Celesdir first, and then we'll go for Frostalion Noct. Supply drop. That's going to be all the way up there, isn't it? Yeah, that's annoying. It's okay though, because we'll get it another time. I've got quite a few drops here. And I ain't talking about Twitch drops, baby. So we know that I think Celesdir is an earth type, and its weakness is grass. So we will apply any grass abilities that we have when we get there. Before we take on the 7th tower, I'm going to try and farm some of the Memorest curry, as well as spending all of the Pal souls that we have to try and juice up my team as much as I can. Fucking Elden Ring ass tree here, look at this. It's the Erd tree. Yahoo! Oh, there's a little skill fruit tree right here, I didn't know that. That's cool. Let's go ahead and mark it. Lightning Strike, Sand Tornado, and Tri-Spark. Alright, where is Celesdir? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's normal type. Okay, so Darkness. What you got here, Val? Whoa, that was close. Dude, Celesdir actually looks sick. Feels much easier than the original base 3 legendaries. Oh yeah. Big attack. Nice! Okay, that was really easy. Well, all the time that we can save killing these bosses quickly will be spent reading journal entries, so that's nice. I can't see shit! I did learn how to fly in Feybreak. You have to hit all of the camps and disable their like anti-air machines. I think I've disabled one before in the past, but there's quite a few of them, so I don't know if I'd ever get to disabling all of them at this point. We're just about done in Feybreak, and done with the game in general, so. All that's left after we take on the 7th tower is to do the raids. I'm not sure, I've talked about this before, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the raids. I don't think I'm going to, and if I did, I would do them in my own time, but I don't have the strong pals to confidently take it on, and I kind of want, I'd be worried I would lose all of my pals, and I kind of want to always have this file to like boot up and show friends, or maybe if a new update comes in the future, we could, you know, start again on this file and continue from there. And I would hate to like lose all of my shinies just having an attempt at one of the raid bosses. Now I know that there's ways to cheese them, and that's what I've thought about doing in my own time off recording, but I don't know. I feel like just the main 7 towers, the main base game towers, are what I want to take on. Excuse me. Now this should be dark, so dragon type? Yes. So we'll break out Reg, and this thing looks sick, man. 20,000 health. God dang! The legendary Steed of Darkness. Get him, Reg. Oh my god! That's my boy, Reg. That's my boy. Whew! Draco Meteor, baby. What's the shotgun do? It's okay. I'm burning. Oh, that one you gotta dodge. That's the big, like, 1.5-minute cooldown move that Frostalion and Frostalion Noct have. Draco Meteor, baby, that's a big one. Ow, 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 ow. It's dark in here. Come on, baby, lock it in. Here we go. 50 health. Nice, Reg. Alright. That is all of the world bosses complete, I believe. Let's take another look, take another gander. Celesdir down, Frostalion. We got Jetragon, base Frostalion, the twins, Paladius and Necromus. Alright, we're making great time, only 7 minutes in. Now we're going to head back to the base, to the Assassin's Tower. We're going to do some reading. We're going to spend some time pumping in all the Pal Souls that I can into my final team, which is going to be Priscilla and all of our Gobfin, Gale, Grayson, Gavin, and Gerardo, I think. And then in the next episode, I'm going to attempt to take on the tower, so... let's go ahead and start the reading, I guess. Let's take a look. Have we found all of the pals? So far, so good. So far, so good. There's one pal here that we're missing. One pal here that we're missing, and one pal here that we're missing. I'm going to do some research and see who are these. Pal number 112, who is that? Bella Noir is, I guess, only from the slab fragments. 127 is Xenolord, the actual final raid, and the one that's the hardest in the game. He's got like 1,000,000 health. It's ridiculous. And then 137, I'm guessing, is Bastigor, yeah, which is Bjorn's pal. Alright, well, let's get to reading. Castaway Journal Day XX. Castaway Journal Day XX. This world harbors a secret. I was convinced of this when I began re-examining the globe's geographical features for my research towards the end of the last year. Looking over the island of the world, I noticed something strange. It felt like a certain area was empty, so to speak. I knew there should have been something there. It was unbelievable to me how no one could have noticed such an obvious absence in this location. With a few months of preparation, I was successfully able to guess the location of an island based on my hypothesis. With conviction in my heart, I chartered a boat and set out to the island alone. Day 0. Strangely enough, the island is shrouded in a thick fog that makes discerning it from the sea impossible. Attempting to steer away from the fog, I turned rudder only to be enveloped by an even deeper fog. Just then, someone attacked me. I have no idea where the attack came from, but my boat was all but destroyed. With nothing but wreckage left, I was still somehow able to make it to the coast. This island exists in no database. It is an island hidden from the world base. Why is it being hidden? Why isn't it on any maps? I'm certain this is all intentional. Was that attack on my vessel part of this attempt at complete concealment? There are many more mysteries than I can count, but I'm resolved to discover all of this island's secrets. Day 1-1. I found a strange device on the shore. It appears to be some kind of electrical contraption, but its odd design looks like no modern technology I've ever seen. The device is capable of recording images and displaying information about what is shown in them. I've decided to take photographs of this island, using the device, and use them along with this journal to document what I find. Day 1-2. Soon after stepping foot on the island, I discovered a living creature nearby. Not only that, but every living thing I've found here is like nothing I've ever seen. On one hand, normal creatures you might find on any other island seem to be almost entirely absent. It seems this island has quite a unique ecosystem. I now know that its absence on any map is not the only special feature of this place. I've decided to use this device I found to record the various species I encounter. Day 2. As I explored around on foot, I found a sphere that emits a peculiar blue light. I threw it without much thought, and the creature it landed near transformed into what seemed to be light, as though the sphere had absorbed it. Unbelievably, when I tried throwing the same sphere again, the creature reappeared from the light and stared at me with what seemed like an amicable expression. As I began to create a shelter to protect me from the elements, the creature astonishingly began to help me. How useful! Wanting to deepen my connection with this living thing, I decided to name its kind Pals. To match, I christened this land Palpagos Island. Day 3. I discovered what happened to be an ancient ruin while exploring the island. Did humans once live here? Finding some kind of mural on the walls, I deciphered the symbols and found that it was none other than instructions on how to make the strange sphere from before. Using Paladium, the name I have given to the blue ore found on this island, as a catalyst, it is possible to transform mere wood and stone into one of those spheres. I must record this method of production on my device. There happened to be a weakened Pal near me, unable to move. Rolling a sphere towards it, I was able to capture another Pal. Day 5. I've since befriended several Pals. Some are similar to sheep and birds, others to cats. Each also appears to be skilled at different kinds of work. They divvy up the work on their own accord and make life easier for me here. I'm sure the ancient civilization here must have worked with Pals to prosper. Pals are not all intelligent per se, but they all work quite diligently. If Pals helped build those ruins, there must be some reason why they were destroyed. Day 6. There's something odd that bothers me since I've arrived here. Far off in the distance, I can see what looks like an enormous tree, big enough to be called the World Tree, spoken about in so many myths. Still, it's so large that no amount of fog would be enough to obscure it from view from outside the island. The only hypothesis I can come up with is that something other than the fog enveloping this island prevents it from being seen by the outside world. In other words, some kind of mechanism must be preventing it from being seen from the outside. It seems likely that the mysterious powers these pals have something to do with it. Day 8. I caught sight of a pal riding on the back of a deer-like pal. Thinking it was a great opportunity to try something new, I tried attaching a saddle to a similar pal and riding it. It went better than expected. The pal was quite easy to ride. This will surely expand the area I can explore around the island. Day 10. Today I decided to take my pals on a bit of an excursion. A tower-like object visible in the distance had piqued my curiosity. After walking for a while, I encountered another human. When I tried to walk over to them, however, they did not say a word and just pointed a gun at me. Since they're on this island, it would make sense to consider them a remnant of the ancient civilization, but their attire suggests they're likely from the same era as I am. Are they just like me from the outside? Or has this ancient civilization developed here on its own accord? I was in a rough spot, but my sheep pal protected me, allowing me to escape unscathed. I immediately returned to my base of operations and found that all my pals were safe. There's still so much to learn about this island. Day 11. I had no choice but to run yesterday, but I can't stop thinking about that tower. Just as I decided to fashion some gear to try approaching it again, I heard the sounds of gunfire behind me. That person from yesterday is after me. I couldn't sit by and do nothing. I mobilized all my pals for a counterattack. Before I know it, they got carried away and killed the assailant. It's not like I killed anyone directly. There's no one to blame here. I mean, there is someone to blame. Day 12-1. As I approached the tower for the second time, I once again heard the sound of gunfire. It seems there are groups that have banded together and are now fighting for territory. I believe they're mostly using pals to fight this battle. This place isn't safe. I need to be stealthy if I'm going to wander around here. Day 12-2. While taking a breather, I tried to figure out who those people were again, but to no avail. If they were from the outside like I am, it would seem strange that such a large group would not have information about leaving the island. I can only come to the conclusion that they're remnants of the ancient civilization here, fighting for survival. I can't fathom why or how they have guns, but it seems only natural that they must have created their weapons themselves. That, or it's possible they're imitating things they have drifted on shore for whatever reason. Day 12-13. After a long journey, I finally managed to arrive at the tower. I'm nearly certain it's a relic from the ancient civilization. However, I have no guesses as to why it was built. Still, I can feel that there's an energy flowing throughout this place, similar to that of palladium ore. When I touched an inscribed stone slab, I found myself transported to some strange place. What I found there was an enormous pal and a human in control of it. I ran away in terror, and before I knew it, I found myself returned near the tower. Day 13. I've worked out that the ancients must have lived in luxury alongside pals, yet due to some unknown reason, that way of life was lost. Perhaps it was a massive natural disaster, or maybe a struggle broke out for scarce pals and resources. Then again, maybe it has something to do with the teleportation I experienced in the tower. Supposing that some power is responsible for that spatial teleportation, perhaps similar to how the PAL spheres work, what would happen if that power were utilized in other ways? A power so great that humans could not control it. Perhaps that is what destroyed the civilization on this island. Day 15. I tried to avoid thinking about it, but the food I brought along are all but gone. And I'm sick and tired of eating berries. I did happen to find a pal eating the flesh of another pal. It looked so delicious. I can't say I was proud to think of as much, but sometimes sacrifices are necessary. I captured a wild bird pal, skinned it, and fried it up for dinner. It was so delicious. The sensation of eating meat was enough to make tears run down my face. Whether in killing fellow men or pals, this island has a way of making one forget about their ethics. I mean, he is like 2 weeks into being a castaway. Day 22. What on earth was that huge pal? I was simply walking along an open field when I encountered a massive pal, the likes of which I'd never seen before. I fled in surprise, but if I were to befriend a pal like that, I'd have nothing to fear on this island. The existence of a pal of that size is sure to prove that pals don't follow the laws of nature as we understand them. Perhaps the PAL's source of energy doesn't come from food or photosynthesis alone, but some other kind of energy. The power I encountered in that tower may also have been utilized the same energy source, but through human hands. Day 25. After living with PALs for a while, I've come to realize that they don't breed like normal animals. All it takes is the presence of a male and a female pair. With some time, an egg simply appears. Furthermore, it seems that the bodies of dead PALs simply vanish. Where do PALs come from and where do they go? These mysteries have no end in sight. Day 29. Utilizing an inscription I found in some runes, I managed to compress the size of PAL spheres even further. Developing a method for remotely moving PALs, I can now also teleport the spheres themselves. This has made organizing and managing my PALs much easier. It isn't hard to imagine that the ancients must have also moved and managed a large number of PALs simultaneously. Day 30. It's been a month since I've arrived on the Palpagos Island. I've grown quite used to living here. Lately, I've had PALs make weapons and equipment for me. A few PALs seem to have even taken an interest in guns, so I've devised weapon designs for their use. Some are quite adept at handling the weapons. I'm sure they'll be all the more reliable in the coming battles. Day 32. I made a mistake. On what was supposed to be a short excursion, a group of dangerous nocturnal PALs attacked me and I was injured. Why are the PALs who live on this island so aggressive? I can't help but feel their attacks are well beyond the ferocity necessary for self-preservation. Humans, for example, will engage in bloody war at the behest of a leader. Similarly, the PALs living here seem like they're fighting for their very island itself. I suspect they harbor some deep instinctual drive to protect this place. Castaway Journal, Day 38. Having now journeyed far from where I first drifted ashore, I've come across a massive structure, a statue in the shape of a PAL. I'm nearly certain it is a legend. God, I'm sorry, I can't read right now. I've been reading too much. I'm nearly certain it is a legacy of the ancient civilization. But why would humans build a statue such as this? Everything I've found thus far has suggested that PALs live alongside these ancients as equals. But constructing a monument like this must mean some were also objects of worship. Perhaps there are certain PALs out there that have a special significance both to people and PALs. Alright, now we're moving on to the actual tower leader diaries themselves. Zoe Rain, Diary, Entry 1. I don't have a family. My father disappeared a long time ago, and I've never seen my mother's face. The only ones who raised me are those guys in Grisbolt. That's why I know I have no choice but to survive in this tiny little world. Those guys all chase around PALs with their guns. They capture the ones they hurt and sell them to these other weird guys. In return, they get food. They even share it with me. That's why I don't have to be hungry. I don't think any of those guys really care about me. They just keep me alive because I'm the daughter of their boss. I still believe that, even if I'm a boss now too. Zoe Rain Diary 2. Grisbolt was one of the PALs they were going to sell, but she looked so lonely in her cage. She was just like me, and Father, I thought. I was still little back then, so I couldn't control myself. I waited until everyone was asleep, opened Grisbolt's cage, and ran far off with her. I shared half a slice of my breakfast toast with her, but we were both hungry by evening and went back to the base. Of course, all the guys were super angry. They threw me in a cage with Grisbolt, and I thought we were going to get taken away, but Grisbolt protected me. Not even their guns or bats could beat her. How did she get captured in the first place if she's that strong? I bet she didn't even try to escape, the big dummy. I gave Grisbolt a command, and she called down a huge bolt of lightning that wiped out all the guys. They didn't wake up until the next morning. Ever since then, I've been with Grisbolt. Zoe Rain, Diary Entry 3. There's a group that opposes ours, stationed a little ways away from where we live. They don't like the way we sell PALs and use weapons. Our group sneers at them and calls them the Free PAL Alliance. We're always fighting with them for no reason. If I stop and think about it, I bet they're not bad people if they love PALs that much. I asked one of the guys who's been around for a long time about it, but he said it was complicated. Apparently our group has been around for a long time, and we've always been fighting with those FPA guys. He said he doesn't know the real reason behind it, but we've been fighting for so long that there's no hope of ever getting along. Zoe Rain, Entry 4. Sometimes I wonder if there's anything beyond the sea. The only thing I can see far off in the distance is that huge tree. I've never heard anyone talk about what's beyond that place. Apparently some brave guy from a long time ago went to see the outside world, but he never came back. I have heard about people coming from beyond the sea, though. I don't know what those kinds of people do, but they say they use tools different from our own. That's why I know there must be something beyond the sea. A whole bunch of islands, a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of things. It sounds scary, but I'd like to try going sometime. Zoe Rain, Diary Entry 5. I've started to wonder, why am I guarding this big tower again? I've always thought it was so obvious since Father also used to do this, but now that I think about it, I have no idea why. From what I've heard about it, they say there's a legend passed down on this island. They said this tower is somehow related to that legend and that it has some big, great power. What kind of power, I wonder? Even if that's true, why does this power have to be protected? Anyway, even though I don't really know why, I'm always here, protecting this tower. There are other towers around the island, and they say people like me guard them all. Lily Everhart's Diary, Entry 1. She's a yapper. Pals, such strange creatures. These noble beings have upheld our civilization since ancient times. They not only boast impressive intellect, reflexes and adaptability, but are adorable to look at as well. How could anyone not come to love them? Humans are savage animals. With an insatiable appetite for their proliferation of their own kind, they subjugate other species and enslave them. They engage in pointless strife, consume flesh for no reason, and develop beyond their needs. When one takes into account their hideous appearance, how could anyone not detest them? Humans capture pals and use them. If a pal is confined to a so-called pal sphere, they become obedient to their master. What abhorrent tools they become. One can only say this is the greatest stain in the history of our civilization. Pals and humans were originally meant to live alongside each other in mutual support. Not a relationship between master and servant, but one of equals. A harmonious coexistence, if you will. Eating a pal for food is akin to blasphemy against God. Which is why we eat berries. Now, I do also eat some meat sometimes in-game, but... Alright, Lily Everhart, Day 2. Wow, she is a yapper, bro. Lily is a yapper, man. Whoops. I will recount the day I met Lylene. I remember that the fog was so thick that day that I could scarcely see in front of my very eyes. I was simply walking along the berry fields, as I am fond of doing, when I heard the clamorous voices of those abhorrent poachers. When I looked to where I could hear the sound of their filthy screams, I saw them throwing spheres at a pal resembling a vivid lily flower. She was so beautiful and elegant. At that moment, I knew exactly what to do. I pierced their dirty hearts through the back and destroyed their scattered spheres. They shot at me a few times, but it was a trivial matter. I could not touch such a beautiful flower with my trembling, blood-stained hands. Instead, I immediately returned to my base. When I arrived, I found the queen of the lilies there awaiting me. When she touched my arms, my wounds were healed, and the fatigue began to fade away. From that day forward, I decided to become companions with my queen. She's the only flower that blooms in this sad, dark world. Lily Everhart, Diary Entry 3. Won't you join the Free Pal Alliance? The Free Pal Alliance is a long-standing organization that works to protect pals. We have lived together with pals since antiquity, and each of us have a deep love for the wondrous creatures. We have 5 traditional commandments. Thou must not eat pals. Thou must not overwork pals. Thou must not abuse pals. Thou must not use pals for experiments. Thou must risk thy life to protect pals. Wouldn't you like to join us and protect the pals you love? Your life in service of protecting pals is a small price to pay. The flesh and blood of humans exists only for the glory of pals. Lily Everhart, Diary Entry number 4. On some distant shore of the island there exists an inlet where certain pals live. Not a single one of their kind, strange as it may seem, resides on the main island. Perhaps they can only flourish in a particular kind of environment, or their natural predators roam the main islands. Then again, perhaps they are simply unable to cross the sea. I do not know the reason they exist there, but I am certain that they must be protected. Just imagining those poachers setting up a hideout there and ruining their way of life is enough to make my blood seethe. With every visitor from the outside of their island, the PAL's numbers dwindle. At this rate, they may even go extinct. I would like nothing more for us to protect them, but we have our hands full guarding this forest. As loath as I am, I think it means loathful. As loath as I am to ask them for help, I have petitioned the PIDF to assist with their protection. In return, we must pay them a hefty sum, but it is worth it if it means protecting the lives of precious pals. It seems my subordinates have found a way to generate revenue. I will set aside those funds for this endeavor. It seems odd that they would be able to gather such large sums only through raids of the poachers' camps, though. Maybe her workers were doing illegal things behind her back. Alright, Marcus Dryden. What a joke. All the idiots do around here is snort up stims. It's a real dump. There's no point in even trying to control it. PIDF doesn't belong in a place like this. The guy I arrested today couldn't even pay the fine. Guess it's to be expected if they spend all their money getting a fix. Bet they can't even imagine the money they pay ends up lining my pockets. I make a profit when they buy, and then I make more when I arrest them for possession. And I even get back my product to sell again when I confiscate what they have. It's a grand scheme. They're idiots, and I'm a genius. This is just a punishment for being fools. You catch my drift? This island is just my little sandbox to play on. For all I care, they can live their sad little lives without ever knowing I'm the one supplying their fix and the one controlling it. If I let them get carried away, they'll just go off demanding rights that ain't fit for garbage like them. Marcus Dryden, Diary 2. Life out here is not all peace and quiet. Damn wind blows, and somehow somebody's cutting it into my profits. Just today, some punk little syndicate clowns who think he's smart tried selling stims without my permission. My partner, Paladius, is always there to deal with dumb bottom feeders like that. Just like me, he's having fun playing in this little sandbox. Or maybe he just likes eating that white stuff. Huh, don't look at me like that. Ain't no food today, boy. Go eat some of that white sand. Marcus Dryden, Day 3, or Diary Entry 3. Another peaceful day on the island. More proof we're having fun playing house, right, Paladius? Don't worry, I get it. You've got the same eyes as me. You're having fun playing house too, yeah? Or maybe you're just waiting for me to fall over dead. You sure do like eating that white stuff, huh? Maybe the day will come when I'm just leftovers stuck to your wings. Maybe not. Either way, let's just watch each other's backs until then, right, partner? White stuff, is he talking about like a drug or something? Victor Ashford, Diary Entry 1. On interspecies PAL experiments. Results: failure. Attempt to combine various four-legged and winged PALs, but no successful patterns emerged. Some combinations succeeded in creating bodies, but these deteriorated in seconds and all were disposed of. Impressions: reconsideration of chemicals for response control is necessary. Furthermore, the expansion of species to inspect is also likely necessary. We'll reconsider extracting chemicals from Eichthyr's antlers to create a compound. Storage temperatures also require reconsideration. Note: acquire one ice PAL for cooling purposes. Re-examination of base DNA information for the species under consideration is desirable. Analysis of PAL DNA information is pressing but requires new equipment. However, the current equipment was coincidentally acquired from outside. There are limits to how far it can be improved. This will require self-made blueprints to create equipment from scratch. Victor Ashford, Diary Entry 2. On the distillation and administration of PALs to the same species. Results: successful. A certain species of PAL was dissolved in liquid and concentrated via distillation. Subsequently, the consecrated liquid was administered to PALs of the same species. As expected, the results yielded an enhancement in their abilities of the administered PAL. Impressions? This experiment, initiated as an alternative approach towards generating powerful PALs, surprisingly yielded favorable outcomes. Theories postulating that PALs of a certain species contain the nutrients most necessary for the same type of PAL seems valid. This experiment has accordingly resulted in the enhancement of the test PAL's abilities. However, there remains a slight doubt regarding whether the observed enhancement surpasses the anticipated values. Perhaps it is not merely a matter of basic nutrients, but rather we must question whether PALs inherently possess a distinct energy source essential for their own existence. Further investigation is required. Victor Ashford Diary Entry 3. On Interspecies PAL Experiment 2. Results: success. Only one specimen emerged, an artificially created new species with 4 legs and wings. It was promptly transferred to the cultivation equipment and has since shown promising progress, steadily maturing. Attempts to reproduce the same process have failed. Thus, this miraculous success is attributed to some unknown external factor. Impressions? The success of the experiment is genuinely gratifying. The new species named Shadowbeak will continue to be observed closely for further and future developments. However, the lack of reproducibility of the procedure poses a significant challenge. Henceforth, the plan is to proceed with the experiment, incorporating slight adjustments based on this procedure. Addendum: the disappearance of Alex, who served as a lab assistant, is concerning. Axel Travis, he has 1 diary entry. Every day I'm snorting. Sorry. Every day I'm snorting. Every day I'm snoring. No rivals to get me going. I don't care about they type. Ain't nobody gonna beat my hype. I'm looking for a fight. A real tough brother from another mother. Throwing in the towel ain't gonna cut it. It's gotta be a knockout, a throwdown, brawl out. So fast your eyes'll bleed. When we ready for the battle, you better believe the shock's gonna rock your socks off. Sawed off. My lightning is tougher than Hind King's. When it hits the ring, ain't nobody gonna be singing for your player. You ready for this hype? You read the words, so get ready for the fight. Axel's like a rapper. Alright, Saya Kurosaki, Diary Entry 1. The moon on these islands remains unchanged. No, it is the true nature of the moon to unchange its shape. I do not know. Many years ago, a lost soul who washed upon the shore found it strange that the moon never waned, as if time itself had stopped. That person once said the words crescent moon. Those words still stir my heart deeply. When the lost moon appears in this world again, it is said it will be like a blade. Will I be able to witness the blade of the moon that signals the beginning? Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Saya Kurosaki, Diary Entry 2. For countless ages we have I've been reading so much my brain is fried. For countless ages we have continued to protect this tower. The reason is unknown. Our conveyed mission is only to maintain this isle and this island at a standstill. We hunt the madmen from the snowy mountains who defile the land. We hunt those who have proliferated in excess, those who pontificate about research, justice, and such babble, to preserve this landscape forever. Yes, we merely exist here. Our time does not pass. It has become unbearable. Only when intoxicated by sake, intoxicated by myself, can I avoid pondering such unnecessary matters. How long has it been since I can no longer enjoy the taste of alcohol? Someone please shine a light on this perpetual darkness. Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Saya Kurosaki, Diary Entry 3. There's disarray among the ones from the volcano. Rumor has it their leader has changed. Before, their ways weren't so extreme, but now they are consumed by a bloody struggle against the maniacs from the White Mountain. Those lunatics, those unscrupulous people who disgrace this place. So this situation benefits us. But why did they start fighting now? I do not know what their leader is thinking, but I hope they do not tarnish our land. Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes awful too. Diary entry 4, Saya Kurosaki. The moon has reached out to our pitiful selves. The crescent moon I longed for so dearly is now right before me. The everlasting darkness has lifted. It is clear to me this creature is the one who will lead us to the end. No matter how our time ends, until that moment, I will be with you. Incarnation of the crescent moon, blade of beginnings, please illuminate our path. Tonight is also a full moon. Today's sake tastes delicious. Saya Kurosaki's Diary, Entry 5. There's one who is trying to pull out the stakes. I hear the sounds of the end. Now to just sit and wait. And so, us who just exist here, please destroy us. With the blade of the crescent moon, let the beginning of our time be announced, and with death we shall be released from our shackles. Tonight, the moon is hidden from view. Today's sake is incredibly delightful. That's so interesting. We're on to the final bits of the journal. Bjorn Seligson. For that day, which may or not come, I have pursued strength relentlessly. Have I ever doubted this path, even once? Nay. And it seems I shall not end as a fool. The nuisance will surely find its way. Long ago the wise ones, with the light of their wisdom, raised the towers on these islands, as the foundation of a fleeting peace. Now, even as it stirs chaos, the nuisance will seem clearly. How ironic. Is it all that bad? Nay. Thanks to this ever-present reminder, I shall not forget my duty. For the many nameless souls of the past, I shall slay this one nameless outsider. The burden shall be fulfilled. Bjorn, Diary Entry 2. This place is cursed. Nay, it is I and Bastgor who are cursed. Thousands of years ago, when a colossal fortress still stood in this land, reaching towards the heavens, it appeared suddenly. The heavens shattered and we fell disgracefully. Our kin, who once looked down upon others from the sky, fled in panic, tails between their legs. But I, nay, my ancestors alone, did not abandon this land. Reduced to ashes, nor its people. Fallen from the sky, we gathered the bewildered folk and barred our fangs against it. From that moment we forged an unchanging resolve, becoming the people of the Feybreak. And so my kin, who once merely sullied the lowest ranks, took a new throne and vowed to bear all burdens. Bjorn Seligson, Diary 3. The battle against it did not end. Even with the aid of the Thunder Dragon, a pair of celestial beings and the wisdom of a noble paladin, we could not bring about its destruction. The celestial beings, determined not to let it escape, shrouded the island in an unending winter night. The black Pegasus melted into the night and vanished. This land became still, unseen, leaving the island became impossible. The paladin, ashamed of his failure, split himself in two, vowing to never show mercy again. That must be Paladius and Necromus. The dragon vanished beyond the reach of the flash, disappearing from sight. And that's Jetragon, obviously. So he's talking about Frostalion, Jetragon, the twins, but now I know it's just one paladin that split himself. In hindsight, perhaps it has now returned because it sensed the coming of the day. And now, here we are. It still slumbers. Do I guard this land truly for the sake of duty? Nay. No matter the pretense, I cannot hide it. Perhaps I simply wish to meet a worthy foe. Bjorn, Diary 4. I wonder if the lone daughter of Rain's blood is well. I did her a disservice. In any case, the last time I saw her, she still had her mother's breast. Wait, what? She's still at her mother's breast. She will not remember me. Her father and I never saw eye to eye. He was not a man driven by duty or the past. On the day we parted ways, I gave him a final test. A foolish pretense. In the end, it was nothing more than a child's spite. A childish spite. Surprisingly, he accepted without hesitation. He turned out to be a man of principle, more than I had expected. It was a task even a child could manage, but he never returned. Since then, the young ones who had gathered around him were left without leadership. But it seems his daughter has taken the helm and brought some semblance of order. Though our paths diverged, she has faithfully upheld the mission to guard the tower. Indeed, she is truly your child. All right, our last journal entry, which is good because I've been reading for like 15-20 minutes straight. Bjorn Seligson diary, entry number 5. If, just if, everything were to end, and I were freed from all burdens, what would I do? An old man with little time left, what would I do? Surely I would continue to fight until I crumble to dust. The world must be vast. Surely there are warriors beyond my imagination, countless in number. If so, perhaps I should repair that old ship. It has been too long since I last sailed the seas. And Basticor, it is about time for you as well. After dealing with the nuisance, perhaps I will seek a mate for you. Wow. So that's actually Bjorn's ship that we've seen out there, and he came from the seas as well, so... Everyone has a duty to protect these towers. It seems like there's some kind of celestial power, or maybe this is like a portal to another world, or this is like some kind of purgatory, heaven type area, but it's all very interesting. But with that, guys, we're going to call this one here for now. I'll see you in the next one, where we're going to try and take on the 7th and final tower and wrap up this series, finally. So see you guys there for episode 175. It's probably going to be today. I don't know. We'll see. It might be another day, so I might be wearing a different shirt. But I'll see you guys there. Thanks for hanging out. Peace and love, and God bless, gamers.